Up next, the Knights women make it 2 from 2. It means back-to-back victories over the Gold Coast Titans up in the NSW. Plus, Greta Brankston joining Scone in the grand final of the Group 21 Rugby League, and plus we have much more in NBN's The Local Sports News. Good evening. My name is Colin Glenn McLeod and welcome to NBN's Local Sports News. Tonight, the Knights NSW side secure back-to-back victories after defeating the Gold Coast Titans 16 points to 12. Denman joins Scone in the Group 21 Rugby League Grand Final. And the Cessnock Goannas go through to the preliminary final of Newcastle Rugby League. But first tonight, the Knights women have secured back-to-back wins after their huge successive 16 to 12 winning victorious one over the Gold Coast Titans up at Seabus Super Stadium last night. It was fantastic for the Knights women, who were too strong for their rivals right throughout the game. It was right in front of a crowd, and of course it was for the Knights NSW side, with Stephen Staley opening the scoring for Newcastle to get them in the lead. Then suddenly, Tamika Upton extended the Knights' lead. Then Emma Manselman scored a try of her own. And of course, Manselman spoke after the victory.
I think I'm just running from 9. I'm just getting those quick play balls with our forwards and then push the court through the middle. I got offload off Taylor there and push through the middle and offload Meek, set up a try. So yeah, got my first NSW try too. So that's pretty good.
First NSW try, how does that feel?
Yeah, pretty good. Wish my family was here to see, but obviously they've been watching on TV, so yeah.
Then it was time for the press conference.
A real torrid affair.
As our NSW head coach, Ronald Griffiths, and co-captain Millie Boyle spoke after our victory.
Let them kind of get in there a little bit and couldn't get that momentum back, but the girls really held on, and we had a few injuries and there was a lot of shifting in positions, and I think everyone adapted really well, and with 10 minutes to go, everyone really had to dig deep for that.
2 from 2, meaning back-to-back wins, the best start for the Knights women to perform the victory song. The Knights will take on the Eels at McDonald Jones Stadium on Sunday.
Higgins are there to wrap him up.
To Newcastle Rugby League, and Maitland are off to the grand final for the first time in 11 years after securing a huge victory over the Macquarie Scorpions. Because of that, Maitland, of course, which is too good for their rivals right throughout the game. But out of the Scorpions, however, are not giving up just yet. Because of that, it's become good for Maitland. There were good moments into the match.
Holland again to Gibson. Gibson out the back, off gone to nobody. Woodbury's back there, luckily.
And of course,
to wrap it up. In fact, that's LeBrock out there.
And of course, Maitland had the ball just about in the final few minutes.
Down the short side they go, Higgins. Oh, he's had a little bit of a lot.
And of course, Maitland ran with the ball
In a bit of space, Lamb. He's got
to score a try.
Their chasers are coming in.
And of course, go through to the Newcastle Rugby League Grand Final for the first time since 2011.
Good quick play the ball. Lamb's with it. Will he go himself? No, he throws a long ball out here to Will Newisiah. Cuts back in. The fence has got him. He's over the line. Will Neuenhuiser gets a double. Maitland hit 40, and they're in the grand final. Their first appearance since 2011. They went back to back. And they'll want to get the whole town down to Hunter Stadium on September 11.
And of course, before it went up, Maitland had one last kick. And of course, Maitland won the game.
It'd be great to see a massive
42
crowd
to
at
14.
Hunter Stadium for the grand final.
Yeah.
I know the last couple they've had, obviously, last year didn't exist, and
Strong.
And of course,
following, like I know South,
And of course, Maitland had to quickly
they played
kick
like
the goal
mates
to
or-
wrap it up
or
at
sports.
42
I know the
to
year-
14.
The year the Scorps won, they always had, but it was all congested into one corner. Like the days of when Maitland played and Cessnock played, they had the whole hill at number one.
yeah.
Like that was a sight running out when we played, because I think we might have played the last grand final
They kick.
at number one.
The Cessnock Goannas will join the Macquarie Scorpions in the Newcastle Rugby League preliminary final after officially ending the Central Newcastle Butcher Boys' final season with a 22 to 16 win. It was huge for the Goannas, who were just too strong for their rivals right throughout the game. Because of that, he was up at Townsend Oval, which was held yesterday afternoon.
Young. This is O'Brien. Loves the momentum of a quick play the ball. And they've gone 60 metres in only a couple of
It was
tackles.
a massive one for
Apthorpe is back on and he has turned it over. Or has he?
It was a massive one for
It's a knock on by Central.
Cessnock,
It's a scrum for Cessnock.
and of course it was a massive one for Cessnock. Central knocked it on,
What a chance
and
now.
Cessnock scored the match-winning try. And of course, it was enough to go through to the preliminary final.
Pretty important.
And of course, it all but ended Central
If Central win
Newcastle's
another one in
season.
here, then that has the potential to blow the game out to a 2-score lead. So Cessnock will want to be on here.
Ngahi and Mataora back on the bench. Starting front row is back out there. Barber and Apthorpe. And this is Charles, who won them that penalty to get them in front. And he won
There
them
had to
in the
be a
20
try
metres
scored
there. Now Barber,
for Cessnock,
straight and hard. Corey Barber
with a victory
getting
scored
extra
onto their
cheer today
plates.
in a landmark game. Melisea dummying, bobbing, turning, and getting it on the deck. Does he know?
There had to be a win,
Tom Taylor was right there. He could have smelled
surely,
it
for
from
the
his position.
Cessnock Goannas.
And he said no try. They go again, Barber and Clune. And they are stopped on the right edge with Shaw. Now it's Clune again and Syker.
But there was much time on the
Here,
clock.
Back to Young, still Young. Gets the legs
As
going,
Cessnock
Jaden Young.
managed to
Gets right
quickly
into the goal now.
secure the
This is
match winner.
last. It's a big last. Syker, and still they go with Hugo. Dumped it out to Neville. Neville. It is Harvey Neville for Cessnock.
Cessnock will play against Macquarie in the preliminary final.
They get the chance.
Denman will join Scone in next weekend's Group 21 Rugby League Grand Final after defeating Greta Brankston 38-10. We'll have all the highlights in tomorrow night's news. To week one of the AFL Hunter Central Coast Women's Plate Finals, and Newcastle City has secured a win over the Lake Macquarie Dockers. It was fantastic for Newcastle City, who were too strong for their rivals right throughout the game.
Mark wasn't taken there. Dockers defenders trying to get it towards the boundary line. Will it be kept in? The ball gathered by Mackenzie Dennis. Few other players going after it. Now it's City once more. The recent goal kicker, Fair, was a...
They are playing with some sort of spirit now, the Newcastle City Blues. They can smell it, they can sense it, they know they're within striking range now, and I think they feel like the Dockers might have played all of their cards at this stage, so they are playing with a certain amount of spirit, that's for sure. Their tails are up in the air.
I do have to apologise, that was Kira Bates for the Dockers and not Mackenzie Dennis, laughing with
Of course, both teams struggle to quickly have a run for it, but however, Newcastle City managed to secure a victory.
Maybe go for purple next year, which isn't a bad idea. The Dockers, however, they don't care what colour the numbers are, they just want to get a goal on the board.
I'd like high-vis yellow for those aging eyes, actually. If a jumper designer could just work that in, high-vis yellow would be great for my eyes.
Well, they're all doing a great job. A few players over it now. This is the momentum that you've wanted to see from the Dockers. One more kick and it goes towards the Emma Jane Howe direction, but she'll have about 5 City players around her. And here's one of them, gathering the footy there with the kick. Out of trouble there was Eddie Higgins. Higgins' kick goes to a 1-on.
Lake Macquarie Dockers, that's for sure, as they try everything they can to try and wrest momentum away from the Newcastle City Blues and take back what they've had for most of the game, that being the lead. That's being in with the Newcastle City Blues for the best part of this quarter. Wonderful run down and chase, and I told you.
They called it for City. They called it against Fleming. And I'll tell you what, Jade Archer has had a magnificent second half, but I don't agree with that call.
No, fair enough, Alex Tagani, and I wouldn't be far off in agreement with that, but as it turns out,
Newcastle City managed to kick a few goals in the first week of the finals.
Pretty much kick-started this entire fight back. The ball is rebounded very, very quickly by this stoic Lake Macquarie defence. Quick kick forward for the Blues once again. Shocked off again by Dennis from the Dockers. She measures her kick, picks out an option. It'll be a contest. Wasn't contested in the end, was it? No. Great mark there, taken by the Dockers. Now their opportunity to push forward.
So Howe throws herself at the footy, scooped up there by the half forwards, and the Dockers launch it forward. They have not got it inside 30 metres of goal since the 4-minute mark of this qualifying final. Higgins kicks across goal. Very risky kick. Bianca Morris, the former Roosterette, throwing herself at the footy. Now's the chance for the Dockers. They need 2 goals here. Waiting for the whistle. Still don't get it as a result. That was a bit of a surprise. Bailey's bottom of the camera there. Good spot for a handball receive, but she hasn't really found too much of the footy in this second half.
Right now, Alex, is time for that classy forward outfit for the Lake Macquarie Dockers to kick into overdrive and get something happening. It's been a gutsy effort by the Dockers so far to get it back down and create a forward opportunity for their teammates. We need those big stars to climb up, grab hold of the ball, and make something happen.
Already,
and of course, Newcastle City had to have the ball and kick it.
And all that. They're finding plenty of the footy now, but I still think momentum could be on City's side, and that tackle's a great example of that. Newcastle City with the free kick off halfback.
The tackle was enough. The free kick became good.
Just punching that ball into the stratosphere at every ruck knock, isn't she? Taylor picks up the ball, has a light run through the middle. She kicks it to the advantage of her teammate there in... Who was that one?
While running in on the goal is Nichols. She puts it on the right boot, and look at that. City have got 4 goals in a row.
Wonderful.
Look at that.
Thank you for saving my butt there, Alex. That
was
a wonderful rescue.
Then Newcastle City scored and also kicked the last goal.
No clean hands though, no mark taken. quickly wrapped up by the Dockers players there in a tackle. But they managed to get the clean hand pass out, and once again it's Taylor out on her own. She adds another kick to her massive statistics sheet. She kicks it out wide for her teammate there to run onto. I believe is that Garside, who comes out better with it in the end. She managed to shrug that tackle, kick it forward. Almost a wonderful mark taken by the Dockers there. Couldn't hang on to it. Ball's now in dispute. Umpire blows the whistle, and we'll have another stoppage here.
So Corey Hopper, last time these sides met, only a week ago, Lake Macquarie 99-63 defeated Newcastle City 1-6-12. What a week, what a turnaround by the City girls.
Well, Kate Hanley obviously studied that game with a, what do you call it when you study a game with a lot of interest?
Passion.
Fine-tooth comb, that's exactly what I was looking for. Super cameraman Dave Clark, thank you for the rescue there. I've needed a couple here today. As we wind down the clock in this semi-final, the Dockers not going down without swinging everything they've got. Quick exit kick is chopped off by one of the finer performers here today for the Newcastle City Blues, and that's in Archer. I'm so sorry.
Jade Archer, one of the best players of the second half.
Just making sure that was her number on the back there. She's been outstanding today.
And look at that for a finish to the final. Newcastle City, they were trailing for 80% of the match. They had a massive defeat to the Dockers only a week ago, and now they are entering themselves into a second semi-final spot against the minor Premier Cardiff.
Meanwhile, in the other game, Telgor Avoca managed to eliminate Wars End West Newcastle 22-21. While in the men's, Nelson Bay secured a win over the entrance Bateau Bay 133-16, and Telgor Avoca have beaten Wyong Lakes in a battle of the Central Coast 84-67. To the last round of the Newcastle and Hunter Rugby Union, and the Wanderers have defeated the Southern Beaches with a huge 48-0 win. It was huge for the Wanderers, who were just too good for their rivals right throughout the game. Of course, it was just exciting for the rest of the competition.
Will just walk his way over. That's another try, 2 in a row, as you said. That's the end of the game. So, 48.
And of course, the Wanderers won the match 50-0. Meanwhile, in the other games, Mayweather Carlton secured a win over Maitland, while the Hamilton Hawks have secured a victory over Nelson Bay. To the NBL 1 East men's competition, and the Maitland Mustangs managed to go through to the grand final after defeating Sutherland with a huge victory. And of course, Maitland had to do everything they could. And of course, with the Mustangs securing a huge victory. The Mustangs scoring more goals and more slam dunks.
Oh, what a finish from Lachlan Hutchinson. Just took the hit. Tommy, nice little shimmy there. Lachlan with a step back.
But of course, the Mustangs were just too good in the preliminary final on Saturday. But of course, last night, they sadly went down to Canberra in the grand final. To ice hockey, and of course, despite going down over the weekend, the North Stars on their way through to the finals, which start in Melbourne this weekend. It follows the North Stars' heartbreaking loss to the Sydney Bears over the weekend. And of course, the North Stars are hoping that they can become the favourites to win the Goodall Cup this year. Norths have taken out the Hunter Coast Premier Hockey League minor premiership after securing a huge win over Maitland. Meanwhile, in the other games, Souths beat University and Gosford defeated West. In the last round of the Hunters NPL men's competition, Maitland have secured a 3-1 win over Edgeworth to go through to the finals. It was also huge for the Charlestown Azuri, who have also secured a final spot after a scoreless draw against the Lambton Jaffers, while Broadmeadow Magic secured a 1-0 win over Cooks Hill. It was just incredible for Broadmeadow, and of course, Broadmeadow managed to secure the only goal for the afternoon, which of course was the only one to wrap it up as finals come on into the good spirits. While in the women's Premier League, Newcastle Olympic and Adamstown managed to have a 3-3 draw against each other. It was of course Newcastle versus Adamstown, Olympic versus the Rosebud. And of course, Olympic had a 3-1 lead before Adamstown fought back in the final few minutes. While it was still 2-1, Newcastle Olympic managed to secure a goal of their own.
to Newcastle Olympic, scored by number 10.
While in the other games, Charlestown Azuri defeated New Lambton, Warners Bay hammered Maitland, and of course, Broadmeadow hammered the Mid-Coast 7-0. Lake Macquarie's Rhiannon Iflanders continued her relentless match to a 6th successive Red Bull Cliff Diving World Championship with victory in Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. It was Ifland's 4th win in a row on this year's circuit after an unexpected runner-up result in the series opener. To netball, and of course, West League's balance coach Tracy Baggs believes composure and defence pressure in the latter stages of their hard-fought clash with minor Premier Souths at Newcastle's National Park on Saturday proved the difference as they booked passage to a 4th straight grand final. West were Newcastle Netball's top grade champions in 2017, 18 and 19, but finals have not been held for the past 2 years due to COVID. They have travelled a hard road to the championship decided this year after finishing the regular season 4th, but West easily dispatched 3rd place Nova in the minor semi-final before taking a 49-45 win over Souths in the preliminary final. Souths made a strong start on Saturday to lead 12-10 at the first break, then 24-21 by halftime. But West overcame the Lions by 4 goals in both the 3rd and 4th quarters. They were up 32-31 heading to the final period. West are set to face University of Newcastle in the grand final next Saturday. And of course, University finished the season in 2nd and were also 4-goal winners over Souths in the major semi-final. Surfing, of course, Ryan Callanan doubled the next best in Ray Richards' Memorial man-on-man history with a victory over Championship Tour surfer Jackson Baker in the final on Saturday for an 8th title. Up next, we have more local sport from northern New South Wales.
Into big business now, are we?
No, I'm quite happy with the small business I own, Louise.
Who are you banking with now, Bob?
Newcastle Permanent.
No, I mean your company banking.
Yeah, we're with the firm.
Didn't know they did business banking?
Well, I have done it for quite some time now, Dad.
Oh, good move. That's mine. Thank you.
Your business is in good hands with Newcastle Permanent.
They're our building society.
Wake up in the morning, gotta get because the Herald is the best way to start your day.
It's crunch time for Central Coast Rugby Union players with the finals just weeks away. 5 teams will battle it out in an elimination round, and it's expected to be a nail-biter.
Sitting at 6th place, Warnervale's finals hopes were dashed before Saturday's game started. But for Carryong, it was all about building finals momentum, starting with Lachlan Peruch trotting easily over the try line. From there, Carryong didn't stop, piling on try after try, entering the break 35 points up. The home side were running away with it, and Jake Hubbard took it a little too literal. Carryon's momentum was unstoppable as the Wildcats made a few costly errors. Never-say-die attitude saw Warnervale finally add to the scoreboard despite their season ending in a 52-17 loss. Meanwhile, Terrigal proved why they belonged at the top, holding off a relentless Lakes at the Haven to secure their 14th win of the season. With the stage now officially set for the finals, this weekend it'll be do or die for Arimba and the Lakes. Just one game stands between minor premiers Terrigal and the grand final, the last hurdle on September 17. As a long season begins to draw to a close. Will DeFulvio, NBN News.
After a hard-fought season, the Turkley Hawks have secured a spot in the Central Coast Rugby League Grand Final for the first time. The Hawks were now prepared to take on the Erina Eagles following a history-making win over Wyong.
From the first few minutes of the game, Turkley was desperate to make their first ever Grand Finals appearance. The only thing standing in their way, the Wyong Roos. And it didn't take long for the two teams to butt heads. Picking up the pace in the second half, Wyong's Bailey Frost almost broke away to get ahead, but a fumble put it back in Turkley's hands. Soon after, Jacob Giles capitalised and extended their lead. With so much on the line, the Roos were far from rolling over. Going up and over Turkley's defence, Jack O'Brien helped close the margin. As time ticked on, it changed from a margin to a gap to being neck and neck once more. Until the final whistle blew. As extra time was added to the clock, it all came down to a season-defining point. The crowds cheering as Turkley took possession, inching closer and closer to the try line. Victory just out of reach for Wyong, and an impressive kick sealed the deal for the Hawks. Turkley booking a spot against Erina in this week's grand final at EDSAC Oval. Will DeFulvio, NBN News.
Fabulous. Thousands packed Bellevue Oval to watch a very close final between the Darwin Eels and Moree Boomerangs. The Group 19 match saw the Eels claim a nail-biting 2-point victory.
After 17 years without a premiership, yesterday's grand final was a dream come true for the Darwin Eels. Up against their fierce rival, the Moree Boomerangs, the match was an arm wrestle from beginning to end. The two sides went try for try for the most part of the match. The Boomerangs appeared to take the upper hand, scoring 2 tries in succession, giving them a 10-point lead.
We knew we was here for a fight. It doesn't matter where the Boomerangs play, they play with heart. They always will.
Not out of the game yet, the Eels began to stage a comeback in the final 10 minutes. With a minute and a half still left on the clock, the Eels still needed a try and successful conversion to take the lead. And with his second try of the afternoon, man of the match Dwayne Button levelled the score.
They didn't go away. And they made us earn that to come down to the last minute 30. Heart attack stuff.
A conversion from Mark Walker secured the Eels the win, 22-20.
Speechless, crying, highly emotional. We worked for this all year.
Grace Nicholson. NBN News.
Fabulous. Yes, to Central North Rugby Union and Tamworth has secured a win over Inverell, while Balba Guida has beaten Gunnedah in the second, while Gunnedah's women has beaten Corindai. And of course, it was part of the Central North Rugby Union finals. Because of that, Tamworth are now through to the semi-finals. to the finals of local AFL, and the New England Nomads secured a win over the Tamworth Kangaroos, while the Tamworth Swans secured a win over the Inverell Saints. While in the women's finals, Tamworth had a win, with the Swans defeating their local rivals, the Kangaroos, 29-20, while Gunnedah defeated Inverell 59-23. After a rocky start to the season, the South Grafton Rebels have earned a place in the Group 2 Grand Final next weekend. The Rebels revelling in a 50-10 point win over the Wagga Seahorses, and of course that will see South Grafton take on the Rara Valley Axemen.
Back-to-back tries for the Rebels saw them take an early lead, before a quick-thinking move by Whoopi's captain Dane O'Hare opened up the score for the home team 8-6. 4 more tries from the Rebels saw them hit a decent lead at half-time, 32-6. After the break, the Rebels went on a rampage. Tom McGrady showing he meant business, setting the scene for a brilliant try. Closely followed by a superb inside pass, the Rebels making a beeline to get across once again. 42 points to 6. A moment of redemption for the Seahorses, taking the score 44-10. The last try of the game was the icing on the cake for the Rebels, with the final score 50-10.
Definitely relief. It's good to be in the big dance again. Getting the club back up to where it is. It's 3 grades there next week, so that's awesome for us.
Overall, it was still a successful year. Definitely disappointing to go out the way we did. I think a few injuries didn't help us. But overall a good year.
Alison Paul, NBN News.
To the last round of Group 3 Rugby League, and the Old Bar Pirates have beaten the Taree City Bulls 62-0. While the Macleay Valley Mustangs secured a 35-16 win over the Port Macquarie Sharks. In other games, the Wingham Tigers beat the Port City Breakers 22-14, while the Foster Tuncurry Hawks secured a win over the Warhope Blues. To AFL North Coast, and Port Macquarie is through to the grand final after defeating Grafton 90 points to 41. While in the AFL North Coast women's preliminary semi-final, the Northern Beaches Blues will join the Coffs Breakers in the grand final after defeating the Port Macquarie Magpies 48-13. The Lennox Head Trojans are through to the Far North Coast Rugby Union preliminary final. The side will take on the Wollumbar Austinville Pioneers next week after yesterday's win over the Ballina Seahorses. A try from Tom McEvoy got the Trojans over the line, the final score 23 points to 20. The preliminary final kicks off at 3:15 p.m. this Sunday at Kingsford Smith Park. The winner will take on the Bangalore Rebels in the grand final. Return to Rugby League, and Evans Head may have been dubbed the underdogs this Northern Rivers Regional Rugby League season, but they've certainly earned their stripes. They beat top-the-ladder Moolumbar in a major upset that sent the side progress through to the grand final.
The Bombers were looking to make history, having never made a grand final, and they started the match fired up with this try from Brandon Anderson within the first 10 minutes.
For the first try of the afternoon.
But the Mustangs responded with not one, but 2 tries on their home patch.
Now Adam Walker offloads to Blake Marison, and how good is that from Blake Marison to get his second in the space of 5 minutes?
Evans Head put a couple more points on the scoreboard.
Drew Bolt puts it in the corner, feeds it nicely, and it's well picked up there from Zach Roberts. They've come in today as party spoilers, and they're spoiling this party.
Before the Mustangs earned this try from Daniel Butterini, but Evans were putting up a fight. The score at half-time, 18-14, with the Bombers in front. Adam Walker put his side back in front.
Adam Walker gets himself back on the score sheet.
But it wasn't for long.
And as Brandon Anderson just got his hat-trick.
Evans were on a roll.
Over, under.
Even these extra points weren't enough to even up the score.
This could put it to bed here. White ball crashes every second.
Evans Head winning the match 36-28. They will now take on Bilambil in the grand final this Sunday. Once the game wrapped up, a fight erupted, this time between spectators.
Are into next week's grand final against the Bilambil Jets.
Meanwhile, in the trophy grand final, Maris Brothers sealed the deal against Northern United 36-24. Josephine Shannon, NBN News.
Yes, marvellous. Anyway, that's it for now, and don't forget, I'll be back tomorrow. Good night.